From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hey, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to OpenLine. Did you hear the big news? It actually happened last week. Big changes are coming to our money, so you better pull it out of your pocket and take a good look. Actually, the changes are still like a decade away, but big changes nonetheless. In fact, some of the biggest changes that we've seen in a century, so since any of us have been alive. And we're going to talk about that tonight. We would love to hear your perspective. What do you think of the changes coming to the $5, $10, and $20 bills? Probably the most talked about, especially here in Tennessee, changes to the 20, because President Andrew Jackson is being taken off the front and moved to the back, and Harriet Tubman's picture will be on the front. I want to set this all up for you in case you're just catching wind of this. I want to show you what's coming, so take a look.
Change for 20.
Change is good.
Andrew Jackson, former president and slave owner, is moving from the front to the back of the bill. In his place, a former slave, Harriet Tubman.
Her incredible story of courage and commitment to equality embodies the ideals of democracy that our nation celebrates, and will continue to value her legacy by honoring her on our currency.
After escaping slavery, Tubman brought slaves to safety through the Underground Railroad. She also worked for the Union Army during the Civil War, serving as a spy. Hillary Clinton tweeting she couldn't think of a better choice for the $20 bill. Bernie Sanders echoed the sentiment, tweeting, "I cannot think of an American hero more deserving of this honor." Not everyone is happy.
I love Harriet Tubman. I love what she did. But we can find another way to honor her. Maybe a $2 bill.
The money makeover was originally planned for the $10 bill, featuring Alexander Hamilton.
First time I'm thinking past tomorrow.
But with the success of Broadway's Hamilton, fans rallied behind the founding father. Hamilton will stay on the 10. The back of the bill will have a montage of women involved in the suffrage movement. On the 5, Abraham Lincoln stays put. Featured on the back will be portraits of people involved in historic events at the Lincoln Memorial, like Martin Luther King Jr. and Eleanor Roosevelt.
It's money. It's going to change. It's got to change.
I'm Mary Maloney reporting.
As I told you, big changes coming to our money. So what do you think? Go ahead and give us a call. We'd love to hear your perspective on it. 615-737 is the number to call, or 737+ is the number to call. You've got the entire hour, so go ahead and give us a jingle. I have a great guest with me to talk about this topic, Howard Cattell, President and CEO of the Hermitage. If you don't know, that is Andrew Jackson's Tennessee home. Howard, thank you for being with us.
Carrie, thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
Good. Well, I know this is a topic that you all have been hearing lots about and talking lots about as well. How long has this been a conversation over at the Hermitage?
Well, over a number of years, occasionally the topic would come up. We'd see it in social media. And starting in March of last year, it became an ongoing conversation when an initiative was launched called Women on the 20. And it gained steam or momentum, if you will, over the spring of last year. And then in June of 2015, the Secretary of Treasury, Jacob Lew, announced that instead of changing the 20, since the $10 bill was already being redesigned to make it more secure, that they would add a woman to the $10 bill, but that there would be multiple versions of the $10 bill. Alexander Hamilton would be on some, and they hadn't really decided yet which woman, though likely it would be Harriet Tubman.
But then all of a sudden, the news comes out last Wednesday, and it's the 20.
That's right. It was a surprise. The first we had heard about it was the Sunday just before. Early in the morning, there had been an announcement. In fact, my wife, who was out of town, called me and said, "Did you see the news?" And then my phone starts to light up.
Yeah.
You know? So, but we didn't really know what day the announcement would be made. And then last Wednesday, the 20th, the announcement was made, and our phones really lit up at that point.
I bet. And a lot of people feel very passionately about this. Other people are like, hey, it's money, who cares? You know, or it's just time for a change, something different. So there are people who are really on the spectrum about this. What kind of calls have you been getting at the Hermitage?
We have been getting, primarily the people who are calling us are the ones who have concerns about Jackson being moved to the reverse side of the 20. Though we've been reading clearly in social media and in the media, throughout the media, a variety of opinions, and it's being hotly debated.
It really is.
Yes. The first couple of days it was people saying, "Oh, this is the great thing," and then there was some discussion about sort of the next level of detail and is it the best thing, and then other people began weighing in on, well, this is a bad idea. And now there's more moderation coming along, just in the last 2 days in particular. People saying, you know, it doesn't have to be Tubman versus Jackson.
Right.
So I think that the conversation is maybe settling down and the emotions are settling a little bit.
When you look at Jackson versus Harriet Tubman, their biographies really contrast each other, because you have this man who some just see as a slave owner, a person involved in the Trail of Tears. And then you have Harriet Tubman, obviously an abolitionist. She started the Underground Railroad. And so there's such a contrast, such an opposition in what they both, if you look at just some part of Jackson's history. And a lot of people are taking those pieces and making it verses. What's your take on that?
Well, when it's framed that way, the Jackson argument is very difficult.
Yeah.
What we're doing at the Hermitage is helping people widen the lens, if you will. Think about taking a photograph and see the broader perspective of his life and what he accomplished, because he continues to be listed as one of the top 10 presidents. Right. A very strong president who changed the course of our country, fought for the broadening of the voice of the common person in how government functions. Was a hero, considered a hero in his time of the Battle of New Orleans, had great celebrity. And in the narrow conversation about him, a lot of that gets lost. So more voices are now weighing in on that broader picture of Jackson, and that's the story we tell at the Hermitage, along with the darker, troubling sides of slave owner and Indian removal. And
it was a different time. I think some people are phrasing this debate as it were now.
That's correct.
This was a very different time.
It was a very different time, and several different authors have said, you know, Jackson existed within the mainstream of American thinking of his time. That he was a slave owner, but 12 of our first 18 presidents were slave owners. The majority, I'm sorry, not the majority, 59% of the men who were considered citizens at that time, of the men who wrote and signed the Constitution, were slave owners.
Wow.
A very different time, and clearly they had a perspective, but to erase them erases a significant part of our nation's history.
So when you look at the changes coming, and these changes I don't think are supposed to come until about 2030, so we have a while till we'll actually see them on the bills. Personally, what's your take of Andrew Jackson going to the back of the bill?
I liked him on the front.
Yeah.
You know? But within the context of our 21st century nation and how we think today, I think it is absolutely appropriate to have more diversity on our currency. Our currency is a way of subtly teaching people about our history and who was significant in our history. And clearly today we understand that our history wasn't just dead white men.
No, not at all.
And so we need that level of diversity and bringing more recent history. As you said in the opening, it's been 100 years.
Yeah.
And so the time has come. When Jackson was put on the $20 bill in 1928, he hadn't been dead. He had been dead maybe 80 years.
Wow.
So it was more recent history, and he had graced several other denominations up before the 20. So it's bringing us more up to date.
You know what I do like about this debate that's been started just over the past week or so? I think it's making people actually pay attention to their money just maybe a little bit more.
That's correct.
And maybe in the long run we'll learn a little bit more history about the money, about why things have been chosen for the money, about who's actually on the bill, don't you think?
I think so, and I hope that Treasury will continue to look at not just these three denominations of currency, but begin to look at the 50, the 100, et cetera, because those pictures haven't changed in a similar length of time.
Most of them may not see those. Most of us may not see those pictures quite often because we don't have 50s and 100s in our wallet.
That is correct. That's correct.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'd love to hear your perspective on this, and we'll chat some more about the changes coming to our money. Stick around.